Sometimes a relationship ends, but the conversation does not. It continues quietly in your mind. You imagine sitting across from that person one more time. You think about what you would ask. Why did you change? Why did your words and actions stop matching? Was any of it real to you? You may return to old messages, searching for the moment when something shifted. And beneath all these questions is one persistent belief. If they could just explain what happened, maybe you could finally let it go. This does not necessarily mean you want them back. You may know the relationship could not continue and have already begun rebuilding your life. But part of you remains inside a conversation that never happened. Perhaps you are not waiting for the person anymore. Perhaps you are waiting for the explanation you believe would finally set you free. On the surface, you may believe you are looking for information. You want to know what happened and why everything changed. But what you are really asking for may be much larger. You want to know what was true, why their words and behavior contradicted each other, whether you missed something, and whether they understand the impact their choices had on you. This is why a simple explanation rarely feels like enough. You are not asking only for a description of the past. You are asking for one answer capable of organizing the closeness, the distance, the promises, the silence, and the ending. You do not only want to know what happened, you want what happened to finally make sense. When someone leaves without a clear explanation, the uncertainty does not always remain focused on them. Eventually, it can turn toward you. Maybe I misunderstood everything. Maybe the connection did not mean what I thought it meant. Maybe I was too sensitive. Maybe I ignored something obvious. Without a coherent ending, the mind returns to the past because it is trying to recover trust in its own perception. You're no longer asking only, why did they do this? You're also asking, can I trust the way I understood what was happening? Their explanation begins to feel like proof that the connection was real, that the contradictions were not in your imagination, and that your pain has a legitimate reason. You may also hope that fully understanding the past will protect you from experiencing it again. Sometimes, the need for closure is not only a need to understand another person, it is an attempt to feel safe inside your own judgment again. This creates a division inside you. One part recognizes that the answer may never come. It remembers every avoided question and every moment when honesty was possible but never offered. Another part still believes that one final conversation could change everything, because moving forward without an explanation can feel like accepting an injustice, like closing the story before the truth has been told. So you remain suspended between what experience has shown you and what you still hope to receive. The belief beneath this waiting is understandable. I cannot close what I do not understand. But hidden inside that belief is an assumption that the person who left you with the confusion also possesses the answer that can release you from it. The person who could not communicate clearly during the relationship may not become clear simply because it has ended. They may not fully understand their own behavior. They may remember the experience differently or avoid anything that brings guilt and discomfort. They may minimize the impact because recognizing it would require a level of honesty they cannot yet offer. This does not always mean they are deliberately lying. Sometimes people can explain themselves only from the level of awareness they currently have. And that may be the same level of awareness that created the confusion. They may offer a reason that makes sense to them, but leaves your deeper questions untouched. They may explain what they did without understanding why they did it, or tell you what reduces their discomfort rather than what helps you understand your experience. Another conversation may produce only another vague answer, another contradiction, another reason to keep searching. You may be looking for clarity in the very person who made everything unclear. It is natural to imagine closure as a moment of relief. They finally explain, you finally understand, and the questions become quiet. But real conversations are rarely as complete as the ones we rehearse in our minds. They may say they were afraid, confused, or unsure of what they wanted. Their explanation may even be sincere. And still, something inside you may remain unsettled, because an explanation cannot undo their behavior. It cannot return the time you spent questioning yourself. It cannot immediately restore the trust that was lost. Even an apology cannot always repair what the absence of honesty created. Perhaps you are not only waiting for them to explain what happened, perhaps you are waiting for the explanation to undo what happened. That is more power than any answer can carry. There may be another place to begin. Instead of asking, "What could this person say that would finally help me understand?" you might ask, "What has their behavior already shown me?" Perhaps their words and actions repeatedly failed to align. Important questions were avoided, closeness was offered, and then withdrawn. Your needs could not be discussed without silence, distance, or defensiveness. None of this reveals every motive or private conflict inside them, but it reveals something important: what that person was capable of bringing into the relationship. You may never know every reason they withdrew, but you know that they withdrew. You may never understand why they avoided honesty, but you can recognize what repeated uncertainty did to your sense of safety. Their inability to give you clarity is not the whole explanation, but it is still information. Creating closure does not require claiming that you understand everything, turning the other person into a villain, or erasing the moments that mattered. You do not have to deny the good in order to acknowledge the harm. A more honest kind of closure can begin with what is already available: what happened, the pattern that repeated, and the impact that pattern had on you. You can recognize inconsistency without diagnosing the person. You can accept that the relationship mattered, while also recognizing that it could not provide the clarity, safety, or reciprocity you needed. Closure may not sound like, "Now, I understand everything." It may sound more like, "I may never know all of their reasons, but I can trust what this experience revealed." That is not a perfect answer, but it may be a truthful one. Part of you may resist this because stopping the search can feel like allowing the other person to escape responsibility. If you move forward, does that mean their silence was acceptable, or that your questions never mattered? No. Moving forward does not change the facts or make their behavior fair. It means that their limitations will no longer determine how long your life remains suspended. You can hold more than one truth at the same time. You deserved an explanation. They may never be capable of giving you one, and you do not have to remain emotionally trapped between those realities. You can recognize that a response was owed to you without allowing its absence to decide when your life is permitted to continue. The imagined conversation may still return sometimes. You may still think of another question or wonder what they would say if they were completely honest. Closure does not always mean the questions disappear. Sometimes it means the questions no longer have the authority to keep the entire story open. Your experience does not need their confirmation to become real. You do not need access to every private reason in order to recognize a pattern. You do not need perfect certainty to take the impact seriously. You can say, I do not know everything that happened inside that person. And also, I know what happened between us. You may never understand every reason behind what happened, but you can still trust what their behavior showed you. The final explanation may never arrive, but you do not have to continue doubting what you lived in order to recognize that it ended. And your peace does not have to keep waiting for someone who cannot give it permission to begin. If this helped you understand why some endings remain open inside you, stay with quiet clarity as we continue exploring the hidden patterns beneath what we feel.